welcome to the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that signs my paychecks, Pastor Rusty Gerhart.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. You just got done preaching here at Life Point Lake Stevens.
It was great.
Amazing time, amazing Sunday. And before we jump in, I want to do some would you rathers. I think it'd be kind of fun.
Come on.
So would you rather have the ability to fly or be invisible?
Bro, fly. I'm not a creeper.
All right,
let's go.
Fair enough. Number 2, I told you these be quick. Would you rather have to sneeze but not be able to, or have something stuck in your eye for an entire year?
Oh, dude. I think I'd rather do the sneeze, but I can't. I don't know. That's terrible.
I don't know. They're
terrible
both really
options.
bad. Yeah.
I picked neither. I don't know. I don't know if that's fair.
You can do that.
Can I do that?
Yeah, you can do that.
Gosh.
Okay, this is a good one. Would you rather have a rewind button for your life or a pause button for your life?
Oh, bro, pause all day. Because I say some really dumb stuff that I shouldn't say. I think Brittany should have the pause button, to be honest with you. Pause.
All right, and last one here. Would you rather know the history of every object you touch or be able to talk to animals?
Oh, talk to animals.
You are a farmer, so I mean, for those that don't know.
I am.
Yeah.
I have 5 sheep. Yesterday I had 6.
Wow. Okay.
I'm just letting you know, bro. It was not a fun day, but there we go.
Keeping it real on Life Point Extra.
Here we go.
All right, let's just jump right in. You highlighted several root causes of anger like hurt, guilt, and feeling helpless.
Yeah.
How can understanding these triggers help individuals in our community better manage their emotions and cultivate healthier relationships?
Well, obviously when you're trying to manage it yourself, I mean, that becomes challenging. You have to be able to deal with it. Probably speaking it out loud to a trusted circle is most definitely helpful for sure. I think where it comes into play, especially when we're talking about Jesus ways and those types of things, is it helps me understand other people and where they're coming from better. It helps me with my own empathy of what might people be struggling with and how I can better interact with them. So, Jesus asked way more questions than he did anything else. And so being able to really get to the root cause and say, it's not personal, it's nothing, maybe or whatever, really just helps our relationships go and helps me as a person be able to connect with others.
No, I love that. Next question for you. You mentioned the importance of dealing with anger promptly and proactively. Could you share some practical steps from your sermon that listeners can apply in their daily lives to handle anger constructively?
Well, sure. I mean, you can do all of the count to 10 and 3 breaths and blah, blah, blah. Now breathing does help. It really does. But I think in almost everything that we go through, the challenge is that we want to try to have an immediate fix right there. Like, how do I deal with anger? Well, I breathe it. No, actually, it requires a lot more intentionality than that, where it requires time in God's word, time with God's presence, those types of things where he's really changing our hearts. So we're not trying to respond to anger with anger or whatever, but that we're actually having a much more controlled response, which is why the fruit of the Spirit is peace, patience, kindness, goodness, long-suffering, self-control. So unfortunately, sure, you can try to do the breathe thing, and it does work for a bit, but it actually won't be able to save you. It's the time with God that actually helps change you on the inside.
And your sermon covered a lot of ground, but what's one takeaway that maybe didn't make the sermon or is something that you would just want to encourage our listeners after hearing your message today?
Well, the one thing that kind of got left on the chopping floor, as I was going through, and I'm learning all these things at the same time. Not at all have mastered any of these. Ask my children and ask my wife, right? I think here's the deal. Anger is always, it's a primary release when we don't actually know what our true feelings are. Like, we get angry because we don't actually know what it is that we're actually dealing with. What I'm dealing with might be the sense of loss. It might be the loss of a dream. It might be whatever in the world it actually is. But we respond this way because we haven't done enough understanding of self to know how our typical reactions are going to be. And so my encouragement is, again, and I know it might sound rudimentary or whatever, but it all boils back, this Jesus Way series all boils back to, where am I spending time with the Lord in order to truly understand who I am, how he made me, how uniquely wired me, all of these things, in order to not only live a life that would be congruent with his message, but also how do I help others do the same? And I think if we're called to be disciples, true disciples of where we're following Jesus, we're being changed by Jesus, and we're on mission with Jesus, that last part of on mission means that we have to be becoming changed by him. And how are we implementing that into our life?
No, that's great. Well, thank you, Pastor Rusty. I'm so glad that we got the chance to do this, and we'll do it again, I'm sure, another time.
I love it. Thanks, bro.
Thank you for listening to LifePoint Extra. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date with all of our upcoming guests that we'll have on our podcast.